We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, welcome. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani, and glad to have you on this morning. I see you all are chiming in early. It's always good to see you, Jay, Teray, Ralph, Fidelina, Miss Jules. Can't wait to see you next week. Michelle B. O'Neill, Rach. What's going on, Rach? I'm sorry, Rachel. Bible Children's Story. Be good to see you all. Listen, guys, we are in a new series. We're going to be talking about marriage success secrets, marriage success strategies. Because many people want to know, how do I make this relationship work? Like, I just got married. I'm looking at everybody around me. Everybody seems to be okay, but, the closer you get, it's just like, you start seeing things. Or maybe you have no example whatsoever of what a good relationship looks like. Or maybe you've been married 10, 15, 20, 30 years and you have become apathetic. You've lost all hope. You've given up and you're like, is there anything possible that we can do? But what we realize is that success leaves clues. And if we pay attention to the clues and begin to incorporate them into our lives, we can see a major difference. Because listen, God is not a respecter of persons. He's not. He's a respecter of principles. And when you have a principle-based life and a principle-based marriage, success is guaranteed. Because success is built into the DNA of the principle. Right? So if we learn these strategies, maybe things would turn around. And that's why we have this Last Chance Weekend. You just saw the commercial for that. People are really interested in trying to figure out, how can I make my relationship good again? But some are still vacillating back and forth. Should I take the plunge? Should I make the quantum leap? Should I invest in my marriage? Well, if you don't, you can't get a return. You can't make withdrawals if you haven't made deposits. And what happens is we make a deposit, then we take a withdrawal. We make a deposit, then we take a withdrawal, and then we take a withdrawal, and then we take a withdrawal. And wait a minute. You can't take a withdrawal if there's no deposit, but we put a demand on the withdrawal, though there hasn't been a deposit. You have to deposit and deposit and deposit and deposit it more than you withdraw, right? You have to do that if this thing is going to work. And so in this Last Chance Weekend, we're going to talk about the deposits, the daily deposits that you have to make in your life and in your relationship to begin to turn things around, because when you do these things, you can have a marriage that you no longer recognize. Listen, guys, we're talking about that today, but before we get in, we want to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, because when you do that, you help us out. You're letting other people know, listen, there's some good information over here. You may want to check this out. And if you begin to do that, then this community will grow. And that's what this thing is all about. I'm alone today, but I'm not alone because I got my family today. And so what we're going to do is we're going to dive right into this conversation. We're going to go through as many as we can. Whatever we don't finish, we'll pick up. But as we talk, as you know, feel free to ask the question so that we can give you the answers that you are searching for. All right. Number 1, marriage success strategy. Surround yourself with people in healthy relationships. Now, that sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people just don't do that. We share our company with people who are in the same relational state or worse than we are. As they say, misery loves company. And, people just want to vent. They want to complain. They want to have somebody to talk to, somebody that will understand their situation. Sometimes they're not trying to hear nothing that they need to do. Sometimes they're not trying to hear anything that they as a couple need to do. They just want somebody where they could just be free and just get things off their chest and just let loose and just let me have a drink and let's vegetate and let's do what we need to do because I can't take it at home. And the reality is you are the sum total of your 5 closest friends. When you think about your couple friends, your couple relationships, what state are they in? How happy are they? How successful, how fulfilled are they in their relationship? We've learned a long time ago that we need to surround ourselves with people who are quantum leaps above and beyond where we are, okay? People who have a genuine love and passion and connection for each other. Because it's not like just being around them, you can rub on them and get some of their good stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're in a better place. But when you're constantly in an environment where healthy behaviors are being demonstrated, you can begin to glean from that. You can learn from anyone. You can learn anywhere. It doesn't always have to happen in a class or in a seminar or in a session. You can learn through observation and then participation. But if all you see is negativity, emotional disconnect, every time couples get together, it seems like the men go in one corner, the women go in another corner. There's no couple time. There's no couple laughter. There's no connection, no togetherness. Well, why is that? Maybe because that's the pattern at home. And I didn't come here to be bothered with you. I came here to have a good time. As we sip on that drink, as we eating that food, that's what we came here for. I didn't come here to be dealing with you. But see, when you're around healthy couples oftentimes sit together, laugh together, play together, do life together. Now you're forced. Oh God, well, I guess I got to be next to my wife. So what happens is we're all in a couple space together, but one spouse is sitting on this end of the table, the other spouse is way over there, and every other spouse is together. And you're like, what? No. Well, now you just exposed yourself. Now you just told on yourself because something's not right back at the ranch. And so what I'm saying is it's important that you surround yourself with other people. Find people who are doing better. Find a marriage mentor. Find people who are your peers, but in a good space, and spend time, talk to, vacillate or have conversations, if you will, where you can talk about relational issues and get a different perspective. Because obviously they're doing something right, and maybe there's something that you can gain from that particular person. Number two, we're talking about marriage success strategies. Choose to love. Choose to love, guys. And that may sound obvious, but many of us are in loveless relationships. We talk about this all the time, how we've gone from soulmates to roommates to roommates. And in some rare cases, some of us have become cellmates, where we feel trapped in a marital prison, and it doesn't seem like things are getting any better. But love is a choice, it's a decision. And we're so focused on wanting to receive love that we never make the decision to choose to demonstrate love towards our partner. Goes back to those deposits and withdrawals. Because when you choose love, you're choosing a better path. When you choose love, you're choosing a level of maturity. You see, a lot of us who've gotten married have either entered into the marriage emotionally immature, or we become emotionally immature in the relationship and we become selfish and self-centered and it's all about us. But when you begin to love, and I'm not just talking about that eros, romantic infatuation type of in love feeling, I'm talking about a genuine caring love. Like study 1 Corinthians chapter 13, because it walks through the components, the attributes, the behaviors, the characteristics of love. If you remember, about a year ago, we did literally like a 16-part series on it. You need to go on YouTube, find the playlist and play it. Play it in the house, sit down during your work days, have that conversation, find out how you're showing up, where you can step up in the space of love, because that type of love is long lasting. That type of love will ensure and guarantee a successful relationship. Folks, nobody said this would be easy. This takes work. You admire successful people, but do you see the work that they put in? You think LeBron James came out the womb like that? No, that man puts in work. He puts in work. He puts in laborious work to get the results that you are seeing every time you see him play. So we somehow think it's just supposed to be natural. It's supposed to be easy. It shouldn't take all of this. Why I got to do this, that, and the other? I wouldn't have to work this hard if I was with somebody else. Yes, you would. You're going to leave crazy, right? And then find more crazy and then realize that the crazy was right up in here, because my greatest enemy is in me. So listen, choose love if you're going to be in a loving relationship. Number 3, act as if your spouse's happiness is more important than your own. Now, this is interesting because earlier in the relationship, we have two personalities, the giver and the taker. And so early in that relationship, the giver personality typically comes out. And the giver personality says, I'm willing to do whatever you want me to do that would make you happy, even if it makes me unhappy. And then later down the line, as challenges and setbacks and disappointments and struggles and normalcy kicks in, the taker personality comes out. And the taker personality says, listen, I'm willing to do whatever makes me happy, even if it makes you unhappy. You see how that thing just shifted, right? So at the beginning, I was the giver. Now I'm the taker. And that's the mode that we stay in. And if both of you are takers in the relationship and neither one of you are giving in the relationship, then you're not going to have a good relationship. Did that make sense? Bible Children's Stories B says, what is that 16-part series title? It's the Love Series. Go on the Couples Academy YouTube channel, go to playlists, and you will see the Love Series. And we break down every single component and attribute unpacked in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It was done some time ago. The videos are really old and you may see us, the screen is moving, but it's powerful. It is extremely powerful. I would highly recommend you do that. DC's Kings, everything you are saying describes me. Feel imprisoned. I gave love but get nothing back. I understand. That's why we're here to turn this thing around. That's why you're tuning in daily, hopefully. And you know what? If your spouse is watching, these are conversations that you two should be having together. Because now what it does is it helps to build a healthy foundation for your relationship. And listen, guys, I know some of you are discouraged. I know some of you are really going through. Many of you are saying, I've done this work, I done put in the effort, and I'm still not getting anything in return. But listen, don't give up. Don't stop. It's not too late. Things can turn around. I've seen people in all types of miserable states in their marriage, but they remain consistent to the process and were able to get something tremendous out of it. And so listen, that can be you. It is not too late. Just continue to tune in, continue to pray, continue to implement, continue to make these deposits, because in time you will see a break in that day. You will see a shift. You will see something change in your life and in your relationship. Listen, guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. I'll be right back in just a second. All right, guys, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We're talking about marriage success secrets and all the things that are necessary to do to turn and shift your marriage around. Fedalina says, what if you are the giver and after 25 years, you would like your husband to be the giver? Well, sorry that it took 25 years for him to begin to realize that maybe I should be doing something. What happens is oftentimes we have these parasitical relationships where one person is giving and giving and giving and giving, and the other one is taking and taking and taking and taking and giving nothing back in return. That's a parasite. I'm not calling him a parasite. I'm saying the nature or the dynamic of that relationship is parasitical. And so at the end of the day, you need to have a mutually beneficial relationship where both of you give. We talked about this before. It's called the law of reciprocal altruism. I know that's a big word, but to reciprocate means I do for you and you do for me. Altruistic means to do good things. So we're doing good things for each other. And according to the law of reciprocal altruism, you have organism A and organism B. Organism A contributes to the life and vitality of organism B, even if it means the loss of its own life and vitality, but it does it with the expectation and the assumption and the idea that organism B will operate according to the same law and contribute to the life and vitality of organism A, even if it means the loss of its own. So in this process, if they're both giving towards one another, even when they lose of themselves, they really don't, because they're getting it back from their spouse. And this is why it's important that we're not sitting around waiting for the other person to do something first, because if we're both in a waiting position, then both of us get absolutely nothing. So I don't think that the man should take the lead first, the woman should take the lead. In this context, both of you should be the initiators, because both of you are leaders in the relationship. You should be co-heirs in this thing called life. You have different needs, you have different wants, you have different desires, and so it's important to sit down and talk about what that is, what is needed, and how you can make this thing work. Like at the end of the day, like it's just sad that things are the way they are. And sometimes you have to have tough love. James Dobson wrote a book called Tough Love, because the thing is, if after 25 years that has been the pattern in the cycle, now you want to interrupt the pattern? That's after 20, now you want to change up? Now that can cause an issue too, depending upon how it's handled. This is why it's the way in which you approach it. And this is why we encourage you to go to a counselor, you to go to somebody who can guide you through a process, joining a marriage ministry, being around other people, listen, if your husband has positive, healthy men in his life who are husbands, maybe him having conversations with them and seeing how those men treat their women. Sometimes that's what it takes. We learn through observation, and then we start scratching our heads like, oh man, she was talking about this thing all along. Man, why did it take me so long, right? So these are the things that are necessary. You have to expose yourself as a couple to other things. Miss Jules says, yes, it's tiring and extremely stressful giving all the time. Yeah, I get it. I think it's important that we just learn to communicate the right way. I think at the end of it all, no matter what the issue is in your relationship, couples have a failure to effectively communicate. And when we say that, oftentimes people think, well, I know how to communicate. I articulate my words. I make my points very clear. He knows, she knows. That's not what I mean. That is such a small component of communication overall. There's so many components to it. This is why Danielle and I did a 5-hour master series on communication. Because if it was just about the ability to articulate, then all of us would be phenomenal in the area of our communication. But it takes so much more than that, guys. And once you understand the laws and the principles that undergird healthy communication, I guarantee you'll begin to see some shifts in your relationship. All right, let's go back. I think I ended with this. Act as if your spouse's happiness is more important than your own, right? That's where I ended. And that's putting them first. That's being the giver, not necessarily the taker, and making the shift. The next one, put the relationship ahead of everything else, including the children. See, oftentimes we get married, and what do? We have these kids, and once these kids pop out, we take off our husband hat and our wife hat and we put on our mommy hat and our daddy hat, and everything now becomes about the children, right? And so the love that used to go this way now goes this way down to the children. The resources that used to go this way now go this way down to the children. The time that used to be invested in one another now completely gets invested in the children. And now the children become the core, crux, and foundation of our togetherness. We can't do things without the kids. We can't go out on dates without the kids. We can't vacation without the kids. I was talking to a couple. We were doing a session, I think yesterday or the day before. They have been married for 25 years. Not a single vacation in 25 years has been separate from the children. I'm like, it's time to push pause on that. You need time for you as a couple. You got to get up out of here. Book your tickets today and go. Those kids ain't going to die. They will be all right. But you need time alone, separate from the children. Because if you have a fragmented marriage, you will have a fragmented family. The success of the family is predicated upon the success as a couple. So if you're weak, the family will be weak. If you're strong, the family will be strong. You are the foundation of it all. So your partnership takes priority over your parenting. Partners first, parents second. Okay? That works both ways. Partners first, husband and wife. Parents, mom and dad, in-laws second. Partners first, husband and wife. Parenting, children second. So this horizontal relationship is more important than these vertical relationships because this is the foundation of those. Once you understand that and you invest time, energy, and effort into that, things can begin to change. All right? Here's the next strategy, guys. Start over from scratch. This is important because, listen, oftentimes we continue to remain trapped in our past and we're not willing to let it go. And we're haunted by the ghosts of our past. And all we're doing is anticipating a negative future. So if we have a horrible past behind us and we're anticipating a horrible future on the other side, we're trapped in horribleness, right? And so we give up our desire to live life. And so we push pause on our present moment because we're obsessed with the past and the future. And so we convince ourselves, what's the point in fighting? What's the point in living? What's the point in laughing? What's the point in having a good time? Because I know tomorrow, here he come again. In about a week, she gonna show up the way she did last week again. So, listen, I got my wall up. I'm just protecting myself. But that will ensure and guarantee failure. We're talking about marriage success secrets, not marriage failure. Marriage success strategies, not marriage failure strategies. If you want to be successful, you've got to do something that may not be comfortable, that may not be convenient, that may not feel good, but these are the things that are necessary. Apple Daily says, it can be hard getting a husband to cooperate. It's like hearing someone say, I already read the Bible. One word. Counseling. Miss Jules says, yes, friends and other family. Yeah. Fedalina, yes. Our problem is that we have children with severe disabilities so hard on a marriage. Now that I get, I understand that. Whenever you have children that have any type of physical disability or mental disability, it can be taxing on a relationship. And this is why you need the power of community. This is why you need as many resources and support systems as you can. You cannot do it on your own. It's just too much to deal with. Parents deal with the normal everyday challenges of children who don't have disabilities. But if they do, it's just compounded. And so you need to be anchored in support like never before. And because of this, let me tell you something. I get it. When you have a child that has some type of challenge, it seems like all of your time, energy, and effort is going towards that child. But you need to get away. You need connection. This is a scary statistic. Like when it comes to parents of children who have mental disabilities, like challenges, there's an 80% divorce rate. 80%. And so what I'm saying is, with these challenges, we may be doing our marriage wrong, and we have to learn how to do the marriage right. Because if the marriage is weakened and fragmented because of the challenges that they're dealing with their child, it's almost guaranteed that at some point the marriage will break. And so before that happens, let's figure out how to get you the help that you need. Please, whatever you do, reach out to us. All right, DC King, how am I supposed to deal with being duped by my wife? She's not who she presented to me while dating and when we got married. Well, welcome to the family. I would say that a lot of people have said that same very thing. You weren't who I thought you were when we were dating. You showed me a different side of you. What happened to that person? You were all nice and soft-spoken and humble and willing to go along with things. And now I see a whole nother side of you, like the beast came out of you. You showed me the lamb when we were dating, and now all I see is the lion, right? What happened? Well, I would want to dig deeper into that. I don't know how long you two were together before you got married. Sometimes we race through seasons. We race through the dating season, race through engagement, race through courting to get married, because we just have to have each other. And in that process, we didn't learn each other. We didn't go through a proper developmental process, and boom, we're hit with the reality. And then some people will deceive. Some people do show one way intentionally, and they'll do whatever they can do to get that ring. And then once they get that ring or present that ring, it's a whole nother situation. So what do? One word: counseling. I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record, guys, but that's absolutely what it is. Now, do I believe that counseling is the end all to be all? Do I believe that counseling can solve all problems? No, it doesn't. It can't. It can't solve all problems. And on that point, I'm going to skip down to another one that I think is important, because counseling was one of the things. But here's the deal. Follow the counseling with an action plan. See, a lot of people show up to counseling, and that's all they do is show up to counseling. And this is what they do. Check, did that. And all they're doing is checking boxes. Showing up is not the work. What you do in between the sessions, guys, is the work. And until we begin to say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Listen, really quick story. So I remember years ago when we first got married, I was kind of getting into the real estate game. You know, I was a mortgage broker, and I was doing these loans for these young guys buying up these buildings. And I'm like, how are they doing this? And I thought to myself, I said, well, wait a minute. I know how. I'm the one writing the loan for them. I know how they're doing this. So I said, if these young cats could do it, I'm going to do it. But I didn't know anything about real estate investing. So what I did was I found these two guys that were like these masters when it came to creative financing, because I didn't have money. My credit was okay. I needed alternative routes, alternative ways, you know, watching those videos, those commercials, infomercials, you know, late in the night, you know, Carlton Sheets, how you could buy houses for $1. Remember those? So I went and I bought like 7 books that these guys wrote on creative finance. And I said, you know what? I'm going to read these books like the Bible, like I would the Bible, right? And I'm going to do everything that these books say to do. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to get in my own way. If it says fart in front of the client, I'm going to fart in front of the client, because obviously whatever they're doing is working. So literally I studied and I mastered the systems, the strategies in these books, right? And so what happened was I wound up buying about $1 million of property in New Jersey. That was about 5 properties. And guess what? 4 of the 5 of them I bought for $1. Did you hear that? I bought them for $1 each because I used creative financing. What's my point? Just buying books and keeping them on my shelf and flipping through a couple pages, justifying why I'm not going to do that. Then reading another book and taking a little piece here. So now I'm picking and choosing who I listen to, what I implement, and wonder why I'm not getting the results. I said, I'm going to do exactly what these people say do to get the results that they got. And this is why it's important that you come to counseling and not just show up, but do what the plan is that has been given to you. Because if you are consistent in doing it, you will get the results that you're ultimately looking for. And that's what it all comes down to, folks. And when we do that, we are successful. So we're going to talk tomorrow about some more success strategies. But what's the point of knowing a strategy if we don't use it? At the end of the day, we got to use it. We got to work it. It'll work if we work it. Are you working it? Are you working it? Are you implementing? Are you actually walking out the very things that you're learning? If not, then it's all for naught. It's just for naught. Do something about it, folks, and let us help you to get there. Go to couplesacademy.org, set up a discovery call. Let's talk through some options. Love you guys. See you in